He was not a charismatic maniac like Ted Bundy. He did not construct complex rituals like Henry Lee Lucas. His weapons were not a gun or a knife, but cheap alcohol, lies, and boundless cruelty. His name is Luis Alfredo Garavito, and according to official records, he is the most prolific serial killer in modern history. Over 170 confirmed victims. Boys and teenagers whose lives were cut short in obscurity while Colombia was torn apart by the fire of drug wars. This is the story of a phantom man who hunted on the edge of the world and how he was finally caught. To understand the monster, one must look into his childhood. And Garavito's childhood was hell. He was born into a poor, large family. His father, a chronic alcoholic, regularly beat both Luis and his mother. According to some reports, the father also sexually abused the boy. Little Luis was withdrawn, stuttered, and suffered from enuresis. His only escape was nature. He would disappear into the forests for long periods. There, by his own account, he began torturing and killing animals, feeling power and relief in the process. In this toxic mix of domestic hell, humiliation, and emerging psychopathy, his future cruelty was forged. In his teenage years, he ran away from home, becoming one of thousands of gamins, Colombia's street children. Wandering the country, Garavito turned into a chameleon. He tried on different roles: a traveling salesman, a preacher, a healer, a yoga teacher, or simply a kind stranger. He learned to win people's trust, especially in poor rural areas where children were more naive and the authorities were far away. His method was honed into a monstrous pattern. From 1992 to 1999, La Bestia, the Beast, or El Loco, the Madman, as he would later be called, terrorized more than 59 municipalities across 11 departments of Colombia. He chose boys aged 8 to 16, most often from poor families. Under the pretext of buying them food, toys, or offering help, he lured them to deserted places, the outskirts of towns, fields, wooded areas. There he would give them pinga, a cheap, strong liquor. When the victim lost the ability to resist, Garavito would tie them up. And then began a prolonged, sadistic torture. He inflicted multiple wounds, often not immediately fatal, prolonging the suffering. He mutilated the bodies in a specific way, which would later become a key piece of evidence. After the murder, he could spend hours with the corpse. The motive, aside from sexual gratification, was revenge. In his victims, psychologists believe he was killing the humiliated boy he himself had been. The murders were so brutal that early investigations often dismissed them as ritual killings or gang violence. In the chaos of Colombia in the 90s, when the country was in the global news spotlight due to drug lords and guerrillas, the disappearances of poor children rarely made headlines. This allowed Garavito to remain in the shadows for years. But in 1997, Major Jose Osorio of the Pereira City Police began to notice a horrifying pattern. The bodies of boys in different regions were mutilated in the same way. It was the signature of one man. A special task force, Los Osos, the Bears, was created. Investigators analyzed thousands of reports, mapped all the disappearances, and found the corridors along which the killer moved. The breakthrough came in April 1999. In the city of Villavicencio, a suspicious man with glasses and a mustache was detained on suspicion of attempting to kidnap a child. His fingerprints matched those found at one of the crime scenes. It was him. Upon arrest, he gave a fictitious name, Bonilla. but his identity was soon established: Luis Alfredo Garavito. During interrogations, Garavito struck a plea bargain with the investigation. In exchange for a reduced sentence, he began to reveal the burial sites. Investigators drove him all over the country, and he, like the most horrifying tour guide, showed them where he had buried his victims. His testimony shocked even seasoned operatives. In 2001, he was sentenced to 805 years in prison. But under Colombian law, the maximum sentence is 40 years. And thanks to his cooperation and good behavior, his term could be reduced to 22 to 23 years. Theoretically, he could be released around 2023 to 2025, which has caused and continues to cause waves of public outrage. Luis Garavito today is an elderly prisoner, writing poetry and claiming to have found God. His story is not just the tale of one monster. It is a story of social blindness, of how silent executioners can operate with impunity in the shadow of larger conflicts. It is a lesson in the importance of paying attention to small crimes that turn out to be part of a vast tragedy. 172 children's lives, 172 futures lost. And the central question that remains after this case is, what is more terrifying, the cruelty of one man or the system that allowed it to flourish for so long?